Good morning and welcome again to the 2021 NSRP All-Panel Meeting. I'd like to spend a few minutes recapping the first 50-year history of this unique program. Here are some historical source documents on the program. I want to specifically call your attention to the green-starred NSRP website, which contains a wealth of current program information. And before I leave this slide, I want to acknowledge that the NSRP Executive Control Board Chair, Mr. Don Hamadike, developed several of these slides for his June 2020 Society of Naval Architects and Marine Engineers webinar, and I borrowed them, so I'm thanking Don, and he thanked a whole bunch of other people you can see at the bottom of the slide. Okay, so a little about the program's origin. In the early 70s, the federal government reduced the payment from the government, specifically MARAD, to the commercial market of construction differential subsidies. To help the industry deal with those reductions, in amendments to the Merchant Marine Act of 1936, they called for establishment of a collaborative government industry research program to assist shipbuilding industry and improve its productivity. MARAD sent a couple gentlemen over to the Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish shipbuilders associations where they found and reported out that the Scandinavians voluntarily entered into partnerships and relationships for various purposes, particularly research with the support of their governments. As a result, MARAD initiated a research program that would be based, quote, on collaboration with shipbuilders in developing plans for the economical construction of vessels. This program came to be called the National Shipbuilding Research Program. Over the last 50 years, there have been several government oversight agencies and funding sponsors. As you can see in the beginning, MARAD provided government oversight for the program and its funding. And as the government oversight organization changed, one thing that was somewhat constant was that the funding source through the 80s and much of the 90s was either Mantech program alone or Mantech program and others. In 1998, NAVSEA became the government oversight agency for this program. And the NAVSEA program office has bounced around a bit in the NAVSEA hierarchy over the last 2 decades. It currently resides in NAVSEA 05, the Naval Systems and Engineering Directorate. Another new feature of NSRP at this time was the establishment of a new governing entity, the Industry Executive Control Board. Here's the original Articles of Collaboration. You can see the 9 original member shipyards of the ECB. What's unique here, however, is that the Industry ECB is the governing body for the program. Over the last 22 years of ECB governance with NAVSEA partnership, there have been 10 NAVSEA program managers and 13 ECB chairs. Perhaps some of these maritime professionals are peers or mentors you recognize. But this high-level commitment and engagement by both industry and government leadership is evident. In addition to the program office, the government has an NSRP program executive at the SES level, Mr. Jim Kenny, who we'll hear from soon. And the ECB participation is typically at the vice president level. Going back to the 1985 SNAME Journal of Ship Production article by Baxter Barham, and to clarify, some of this history is pre-ECB. You see on the left the linkage of SNAME to NSRP. In 1970, SNAME added a ship production committee to its technical and research program. On the right, you see that same ship production committee, also its panel structure, the sponsor firms, and note that not all of the sponsor firms were ECB members. And at the far right, that MARAD was the contract management office, and that MARAD and later Navy provided funding. So here again is that original panel structure on the left, and on the right, this is what things look like today. We still have the funding sponsors from the government, all from the Department of the Navy. We still have the Executive Control Board as the governing body. And now there's a program administrator hired by the ECB to manage the program. Next down you see what we refer to as the extended team, which consists of all the industry program leadership outside of the ECB. We have 4 major initiatives that the program is broken into that you can see here: ship design and material technologies, ship production technologies, business processes and IT, and infrastructure and support. These major initiatives have major initiative team leads. There are also NSRP shipyard delegates, project technical representatives who function like government COTRs in project oversight, and the panel officers for the 9 panels you see, and 1 digital shipbuilding committee. But the takeaway is the structure largely remains. It's also worth noting that the STAMI Ship Production Committee Chair is the Executive Control Board Committee Chair, and the 9 NSRP panel chairs constitute the STAMI Ship Production Committee. Looking at the ECB membership, again since 1998, and pardoning some name changes and a few corporate restructurings, of the original 9 members, 6 remain, 2 have morphed into other companies, and 1, Avondale, is gone. And there have been 6 new members added to the collaboration over time, 3 of which remain active today. And along with our snappy 50th anniversary logo, you can see the NSRP members are still industry leaders in shipbuilding and ship repair. So over the last 2 decades, what has the program accomplished? The original joint funding agreement between the Industry Executive Control Board and NAVSEA ran for about 20 years. Over that time, the program completed 135 major projects where the government provided about $161 million in funding and the industry provided $180 million in cost share. And if you're not familiar with the term cost share is, stand by because we have that in a future slide. The program also completed 235 panel projects to the tune of another $25 million for a total of 370 projects and $365 million in funding.
And now we're going to take a few moments to show you where to find these project portfolios. Good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline Mueller, and I am the panel coordinator here at NSRP. And I just wanted to take a second to show you how to find our portfolio items on our website. First, please go to our website at nsrp.org, then over to R&D projects, and it'll give you a drop-down arrow of options to click on. Then click Portfolio. And this will open up our entire project portfolio. First, we start off with our RA projects or our research announcement projects that are categorized by 4 major initiatives, as you can see here. Below that, we have our panel projects that are categorized by our 9 panels. And these also include a few panels that we had broken down into for 2017 and 2019. These were from previous panel structures and that we have since combined into a few different panels. Next, you'll see the commonality working group. This is an ad hoc group that didn't quite make it to a panel, but we still have some projects in this group in this portfolio. And finally, we have projects by year. Now, these are all of the projects that we have from 1999 until now. From 1999 to 2003, we just had projects. There was no specified panel projects. Panels didn't come around until after 2003. And now that you know how all of our portfolio items are split up, let's find a project. Say I would like to find an electrical technologies panel project from 2019. First, I go up here to electrical technologies, click on the panel project link over here to 2019, to the project I want, fusion splice enclosure add equipment. And so I click on this specific project, and it brings me to the project's portfolio page. And now I also would like to request a final report from NSRP. To request your final report from NSRP, please go down to the portfolio's bottom of the page and find the tab that says Request Final Report. And notice next to it the approval release that is assigned to this portfolio item. This particular one is for public release, so anyone is able to request this final report, but not all are approved for public release. And you need to make sure that you are in this data category if you are requesting a final report. So to go ahead and request that final report, we want to go ahead and click on this link here. And what this is going to do is prompt us to email nsrp@ati.org. In the subject line, we need to go ahead and put the name of the project whose final report we are requesting, and that we are requesting a final report. In the body of the email, please put why you are requesting the NSRP final report and any information about yourself that you think would be useful in helping ATI know that you're able to receive this final report. Now, as I said before, if distribution is limited to a certain group of people, ATI will have to take that extra step and verify that you are able to receive this project's final report. Now, once you press the send button here, this will go to us and specifically our admin's inbox, and she will give you a reply as soon as she can that she's received your request. Please give her a week to complete this request, as it depends on where the final report is located. Newer projects are a little easier to find, while older projects are a little harder to find as they are stored on some different servers here at ATI. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate your patience when requesting final reports. Have a good rest of your day.
So hopefully you'll check out our project portfolio. Another NSRP requirement, although not unique to the program, is cost share. Recall that earlier asterisk. The industry has put over $180 million in cost share into the program in the last 20 years and continues to put cost share in under the new JFA. The written governing document for NSRP between government and industry is the Joint Funding Agreement. The Joint Funding Agreement is actually a relationship called an Other Transaction Authority. OTAs are governed by 10 U.S.C. 2371. What an OTA means is that NSRP is not a FAR-based program. FAR and DFAR requirements must be specifically cited in the JFA to apply. It also means that there must be cost share. Another document I have here for you is the Other Transactions Guide. This is the latest version, which gives a pretty good summary of what OTAs are about. And finally, at the bottom, I have an excerpt from the Joint Funding Agreement, which notes for cost share that the goal is for industry to share 50% of the cost of technology development, think projects, and technology transfer activities, think the panel meetings and the all-panel meeting and other events that NSRP participates in. But again, this is a unique industry-led program via the ECB with government input. The government puts up half the funding, industry puts up equivalent in cost share. If you're interested in cost share, then please go to the NSRP website and click on the Resources tab, Solicitation Resources, and look at the Base Task Order Agreement and the Cost Proposal Guidelines. There's lots more information there for anyone who's not familiar with cost share. Finally, another great place to keep up with the program is NSRP's LinkedIn page. Now, my staff assures me that if you click your phone and take a picture of this QR code, it will take you right to that LinkedIn page. And I'm hoping that many of you are already NSRP followers on LinkedIn, and that for those of you who aren't, we might be able to get up over 2,000 followers by the end of the week. So that was a very quick look at the last 50 years of NSRP. I hope you enjoyed it, and now we'll get into the rest of the program.